Alrighty, guys, so here we are again. Different day, same grind. This time we're going to be talking the DCEU, specifically how to fix it and what went wrong. Now, I know not a whole bunch of people watch my videos, but still, I'm going to give you my 2 cents anyway. With that being said, for all of my new viewers, everything is live and on the fly, straight from my mind, right to you. No cuts, no edits. That being said, I think I said that twice. Let's just jump right in. Where do we begin? Point number one, the foundation is shaky. And I'm a fan of all the DCEU films. I am a fan of every single DCEU film. But the foundation is shaky, and let me tell you why. When Man of Steel came out, you opened up, and this I'm saying you as a general royal you to Warner Brothers, so don't get it confused. I'm not saying you guys wrote the movies. When Man of Steel came out, you opened up with a divisive Superman. You tried to reinvent the character of Superman. You tried to tweak his character. You made him more, what is the right word here? You made him more shaky. Like his moral grounds were more shaky. Yes, he was always going to do the right thing. Yes, he always wanted to do the right thing. But what you did was open up the book for a character that you get to now see the inner turmoil behind every decision. And yes, I thought it was cool. I thought it was a great thing to see Superman struggle with these decisions, struggle with, do I do this, struggle with, do I do that? Oh my God, would the world accept me as this? I thought it was cool. But the thing is, that's not what people came to see. People wanted to see Superman be Superman. They wanted the Superman that they saw in the Justice League cartoon, that they read in the comics. And yes, I know there's a lot of comics. Don't start that discussion with me. Yes, there are a whole bunch of comics, but you know which personality, you know which iteration of Superman is the most popular. It's the one that is full of hope. It's the one that is strong and steadfast in all of his moral decisions and all of his dilemmas. He does not show that inner weakness. That's not what people wanted to see. So that is a shaky foundation. People were divided on Man of Steel. People were divided. And I love Man of Steel. Top 5 superhero movie for me. But they're divided. And what you did after that, instead of going back. Actually, no, before we jump into before I tell you what you should have did, let's look at Marvel for a second. And no, I'm not saying Marvel is better. Their universe is better constructed better as an overall scheme, and it's less reactionary. But Marvel, they opened up with their Iron Man, and they brought you, yes, maybe the Iron Man is different from the comics, but they brought you Iron Man. They gave you this character. The Iron Man movie was successful. Everybody loved it, and they built off of that. Now, there was some mishaps during the way, Iron Man 2, maybe Iron Man 3 to some people. They built off of the mishaps, though. They didn't build, the Iron Man foundation was not shaky. The Captain America, the First Soldier, that movie was not shaky in its foundation. Those movies may not be, Captain America specifically, the first one, is not a necessarily super strong film, but it does what it needs to do to build up the Marvel universe. And that's really what you need. That's really what you need. You built up the stars of your MCU, Iron Man and Captain America. But in those, I lost my train of thought there for a second. Forgive me. You built up these, you built up these two heroes. Their characters are strong. From there, you can branch out and do what you need to do. You develop around those two characters. What the DCEU did wrong is that they made Superman and I hate to use this word, a darker character. He was less bright than people would expect. And then you bring in Batman, who has the same dim, pessimistic personality as Superman, who's supposed to be your contrast. So there's no contrast. In the MCU, you have Captain America contrasting Iron Man. And then there's characters that are built around that kind of teeter back and forth sometimes, like Scarlet Witch. But in Batman vs Superman, Superman's kind of pessimistic about things, and now Batman's kind of pessimistic about things. And let's go, and and this goes into point number 2. You moved too quick. You went way too quick. Everything you did trying to catch up to the MCU from a business standpoint, you failed. You moved too quick. And that's because, and I've heard somebody else make this point, so it's not mine. It's because I guess Warner Brothers is in control of all the DC movies. Whereas the Marvel MCU has a studio where their movies, yes, it's owned by Disney and they have to, that's the owner, but the Marvel movies are made in-house. They're kind of, they have more creative control over the films. There's a direction, a vision. These people work for Marvel. These people know Marvel. They know what they're doing. And DCEU barely brought on Jeff Johns. And if he's the right guy, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll get to that. But let's start with point number 2. You moved too quick. You're trying to catch up with the MCU. You moved just a little too quick, and it backfired on you. You did Man of Steel. And yes, you found an excellent way to write Batman into that story, but like that goes back into point number 1. You're adding on Batman into a shaky foundation. And then you go right into Batman. And then in the Batman vs Superman, you also have Wonder Woman in there. And in the Batman vs Superman, you have all these teases for Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg. You moved too quick. What you needed to do was build a strong Superman character. Give him a Man of Steel 2. Do a strong Batman character. Affleck does his Batman 1, Batman 2. And then for the third film, that would be the 4th film in the DCEU, bring them together. Let the end of Batman 2 have a similar ending or similar pathway as Superman 2, so that they have to collide in Batman vs Superman, or that they have to team up in Batman vs Superman. What you did, and Batman vs Superman was brilliantly written. I will argue with anybody. I loved Lex Luthor, even though he's a little bit more quirky and zany. I still like what he was doing, and I've talked about that. I have videos about that. You can go look it up. That you need to slow down. You were so eager and so focused on catching up to Marvel that you sabotaged your own universe without bringing in the quality storytelling. You never really established this is your universe. And when you did establish that, point number 3, you're too reactionary. You're just too reactionary. Everybody says your films are too dark. So guess what? Suicide Squad comes around, it's light. And I like Suicide Squad, it's a good film. And then Justice League comes around, you brighten that movie up. That movie is light and positive, happy-go-lucky. You killed the original Vision. You killed the original Vision. You added in jokes. You added in this. And I like Justice League. Do I like it more than Batman vs Superman or Man of Steel? No. You killed the Vision. You moved too quick. Along the way, you're listening to the critics. What you needed to do was stay the course or abandon the course. You cannot, because people are going to feel vindicated now. They're going to feel like they were right. Once you shift course that dramatically, they're gonna be like, oh, see, look, I knew the DCU was too dark. I knew you guys didn't know what you're doing. You have to show them that no matter what happens along the way, this is your vision. This is your plan. And bringing in Joss Whedon obviously hampered that. Everything that happened with Zack Snyder while trying to direct the Justice League film, all that happened. But still, you're too reactionary. That film you went from Batman vs Superman, which is, alright, it's cool, it's darker, and then you went right into Justice League, super light, super positive, happy-go-lucky, feels like a Marvel film. The tone changed too dramatically. And that was, say what you want about the DCEU, but the darkness with their villains and how they were doing good. They were doing good. You can't just dramatically shift course. It will not work for you. And we're seeing that now. But once again, what is that? What was that point number 3? Oh, this is a 10-minute video. Let's get into point number 4. Point number 4. None of the heroes, and this kind of ties into point number 2. I can't remember what the points are along the way. This is all off the fly. Number 4, you just didn't give anybody any time to really fall in love with your heroes. Your heroes didn't get any classic superhero films. If you look at Iron Man, he got to be Iron Man his first film. He was just Iron Man. He didn't have to worry about a global tragedy or anything. He got to deal with his villain and move on with his day. Batman comes in Batman vs Superman. Now it's another global tragedy with Doomsday and Lex Luthor manipulating behind the scenes. It happens that quick. The best film that you guys had reviewed was a film where you just let your hero be your hero. You got your hero to just let them shine. No global consequences on their head. Just classic superhero versus villain. And Batman never got that. Superman never got that. And then the Justice League, they certainly didn't get that. We have had the world at stake in every single DCEU film besides Wonder Woman. And that doesn't really give you a chance to develop your character. Yes, the story is heavier, but does it really mean as much? And this is going to be spoilers for Avengers Infinity War, sort of, so click out if you don't want to hear that. Think about Avengers Infinity War. The weight of losing these characters was strong. Even though a lot of us know, especially those that follow all the media, we know that a lot of these characters are coming back. The weight of losing them is still strong. It's still impactful. Because what you did, and even if it's done sloppily, like Marvel releasing their Spider-Man movie right before they release, then we're not going to get into that. Marvel's done a great job crafting their universe. Props to them. I've said it multiple times now. You can't just thrust your characters in there and just let the name value be the name value. Oh my God, that's the Flash, so I automatically have to care. No, what you need to do is get solo movies in place first. And does every character need a solo movie? No. Cyborg doesn't need a solo movie. Does Aquaman need it? Yes. If he's going to be a pillar character, he needs a solo movie. You need to identify your pillar characters. And not every single Justice League character is a pillar character. You have to let the audience connect with your heroes. And if every time we see them, they're in a global catastrophe, they're not really shining through. Because the global catastrophe, it's mostly going to be an action film. It's mostly going to be the hero in some type of peril, life or death consequences. Excuse me. Let's focus on Superman for a moment. And this might, yeah, I'm probably going to have to end the video after this. I may not even get to number 5. Let's talk about Superman for a moment. If instead of doing Man of Steel, let's say you do Lex Luthor. Look at Lex Luthor, how he was able to manipulate and kind of get under Superman's skin in Batman vs Superman. Imagine a whole movie dedicated to that. Say what you want about Lex Luthor, but the dynamic between Superman and Lex Luthor is the ultimate one. Superman will never use his power to dominate Lex. He will never use his power to hurt and kill Lex. And Lex, he can't physically hurt Lex. If you get what I'm saying, if you're a Superman fan, you kind of get what I'm going for. So it's the ultimate balance. All-powerful human that will show restraint. And then a villain that really will take advantage of you showing that restraint. He will take advantage of that. And the same thing happens with Batman and Joker. Joker wants to push Batman to the edge. He wants to push Batman to the brink. He wants to push him and push him and push him. He wants him to snap. So he keeps pushing Batman a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. That's the great balance between those two dynamic hero villain pairs, and we didn't get to see that. And even if you don't do Lex, even if you don't do Lex, guys, you still have to give Superman a lighter story, a story that doesn't revolve around him just getting thrust into a crazy situation. In Man of Steel, you got character moments, but like I said earlier, those were a Superman that was morally troubled. He was kind of unsure of himself. It wasn't Superman. What we needed from the jump was Superman flying in on a cape. If you want to build a universe, that's what you needed. You needed Superman fly. You needed Superman Returns Superman. You needed Christopher Reeves Superman. That's the Superman you needed. Because you could build a universe off of those. Say what you want. You get to see the character of the hero. And that's what you needed. Because people need to connect. These universes aren't even really about the stories. Because not every single Marvel film is like a knockout, smash, box office hit. That film is going to go down in history. But what it does is it builds the character. And that could be point number 5 if you want it to be. This video is going to be long. But that's what you need. You need to build your character. And we haven't had a film that really did that. In every film, the weight of the world has been on their shoulders. Batman vs. Superman, it's going down from day one. And yes, you get some character building moments, but once again, you're building with two pessimistic, dark heroes instead of having that light, dark contradiction. That's a timeless story. The battle between light and dark, yin and yang, whatever you want to equate it to. And you didn't have that in the DCEU. How do you fix that going forward? I think you have to reset. I know there's been some rumors out there that Flash is no longer going to be Flashpoint. But I think you have to reset. I think you have to clean house and you start over. You have to own starting over. You have to own it, or people are gonna trash you for it. If you try to do it incognito, undercover, people are never gonna. You have to own start. You have to have Jeff Johns or whoever you want running it come out and be like, "Hey, we messed up with the DCEU. We understand that. We were too reactionary. We were too X, Y, and Z. This time we have a solid, laid out plan. Not a plan to catch up to another company. Stop looking at Marvel. Marvel is going to be ahead of you no matter what you do, no matter how many Justice Leagues you put out. They're always going to be ahead of you. If not in the movie count, in the character count, and that's what matters. People care about the characters, not necessarily the stories. They want to see Iron Man. They don't really care about the villain. That's why Marvel having weak villains has been able to shine through and not matter for so long. That's why people kept going back to see the films, because the villain may be weak. But guess what? People love the Iron Man character. People love the Captain America character, the Black Widow character. They love these characters. So that's what you need to focus on. And I say you have to clean house on the DCEU. I love all the films. All the films great. Let that section of films stand alone as that little 6-pack, whatever. But you need to reset the universe. Keep who you think you can keep. I personally would scrap everybody. I don't know. Wonder Woman's doing so great with her films, though. So you're kind of just in a man. That's a rough situation. You could maybe do Flashpoint and have Wonder Woman keep your Wonder Woman, but Batman, he has to go. Superman has to go. Flash has to go. A lot of these characters are gonna have to go. You really ruined your DCEU by you've been just changed direction too much, and it's too reactionary. It's just too reactionary. Bottom line, you did too much trying to catch up to Marvel. And I love all the DCEU films. I still think at least 3 out of the DCEU films are way better than the Marvel films. And that's just my 2 cents, guys. This is a 20-minute video. I'm rambling, ranting on. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you made it this far, go ahead and leave a like. Go ahead and leave a dislike if you disliked. Comment down below. I read every single comment. I try to reply to every single comment. With that being said, guys, I'll see you next time.